Hi, happy April and welcome to The Thriving Life. Probably if you're getting the newsletter with this video in it, you know me. I'm Danae Shanti, but if you happen to be finding this on YouTube, I'm a professional intuitive mentor and spiritual guide, and I train teachers and coaches to bring a deeper relationship with spirit to enrich themselves and their lives and their clientele. So I train those who are ready to bring intuitive capacities to their work in the world as coaches and teachers to benefit them and their clientele. That's who I am. What we're doing here today is we're having a very quick session with guidance on the topic of codependence. It's been arising in my world lately. I've been witnessing codependent behavior and noticing that it triggers me, and I have angry reactions to witnessing people that I love in codependent patterns. So I would like to know about it and learn more about it from Spirit's point of view, not the book, but knowledge and psychological knowledge I already have. I want to go to Spirit to see what can be offered around codependence that I can learn and grow and heal today, and maybe there's something of that for you as well. So this is a talking stick. Helps just to anchor going deep in the truth, and we're here in Colorado. Hopefully you can see the beautiful mountains behind me. So a short dissertation guidance on codependence. Codependence is rooted in fear, and the images I'm being given is people like shocked little children running around, trying to grab onto something to hold on to, and that's the emotional quality behind codependence. It's a desperation for safety as well as love, but it's more of a desperation for feeling safe and connected, and so that's the emotional quality behind codependency. So compassion is very important to offer when witnessing yourself or anyone else in codependent behavior patterns. It's a cry for love and belonging and connection. So to have that understanding first. Okay. Codependence from a psychological perspective is learned behavior. So when we're growing up, we find ways to manipulate to make sure we get our needs met. And when we find that we aren't getting our needs met, then we go into survival. It's an instinctual thing. And so codependence psychologically has its roots in the instinctual need to survive. And so behavior in codependence is very survival oriented. And the survival is based on the person who's being connected with their needs and their needs only, and not the needs of the partner. So they're not in a true partnership. They're in it to get what they can out of the other person to try and fill that hole of emptiness. It's almost like an energetic vampirism. And it's not often conscious. Sometimes it is. Most often it's coming from that aspect psychologically we would call the wounded child, and it's a survival mechanism. So to understand that about codependence. Okay, that's good. Spiritually, codependence comes between two people when they have an agreement as souls to play a role for each other, to help each other really bring forth the healing that they need. So in one example, in a romantic relationship, the person who is the perpetrator in the codependent dynamic is having a call for love and desperation for belonging, and continuing to manipulate and control and slowly break the wings off their partners so that they can control them and have them for themselves. It's a very scary thing, and it happens very slowly over small periods of time, usually. That person is the one who is needing the help the most. The other person, when they allow it, they are the enabler. So they are feeding the wounding. On a soul level, most often with codependence, the two souls have an agreement to actually play that out with each other, because ultimately the one who is being controlled, or the victim of the perpetrator's controlling in codependence, ultimately is wanting to heal their wounds and being able to find their voice and being able to take a stand for themselves and their truth and their worthiness to have a life. So the partner is helping bring that up by suffocating them slowly. And for the one who's doing the controlling and perpetrating, see what Spirit is telling me about that. they're dealing with starvation and hunger. So the more they try and extract from people around them to fill their need, and the hole keeps being there, they go into a state of starvation. So they reach for more manipulation and more control. Ultimately, the partner who's enabling that is allowing them to feel their emptiness to the point where they will finally come to a healing of it one way or the other. We don't judge how that happens. So these are some of the energetics in codependence from a soul level. I'm learning a lot right now. I hope you are. I've never heard this stuff before. Okay, anything else about codependence that we would serve for us to know for the highest good for everybody everywhere? There's a mental component to codependence. There's an unconscious agreement on the mental plane to contribute to the sickness that codependence is. It's an addiction, and it's a sickness. And there's a mental contribution, so that as long as both partners on the personality, human embodiment level, agree to keep, taking each other down, they'll do so, and that's a mental agreement. So actually looking at behaviors that are born out of mental habits and investments, and that needs to be looked at too to find one's way out of codependence. So what do we do with codependent spirit? We bring compassion. We bring the understanding that if we're enabling the behavior, it's our call for help. We're understanding that the perpetrator and the codependent signifies both people are participating, but the perpetrator-victim roles can move back and forth. So at the moment, the perpetrator is starving and desperate for love and trying to get it out of the other. So it's a cry for love. It's a cry for nourishment. And the nourishment that's needed is love and safety. So finding love and safety is, it goes in this direction, spirit to earth and earth to spirit, and we are the pole that runs that nourishment within ourselves, and that's the sacred self. So learning to access the sacred self in oneself sets a person up to be able to be healthy and well in relationship and not use codependence consciously or unconsciously as the driver of the platform for the relationship. You have a person who's pretty well healed, magnetizing a person who's pretty well healed, and from there, they're committed to the upliftment of one another and usually are of service to the whole world. So you're in a healthy relationship when you're in an experience that there's mutual give and exchange, there's conscious collaboration, there's an upliftment to the soul and the person, and you feel like a winner. And that doesn't mean you don't have fights and arguments and bad times to go through. It means the temperature and the weather of the relationship overall is one of that type of vitality and nourishment and devotion. So that's what we get to hear about codependency today. Anything else, Spirit? Spirit's just saying, don't worry about it. It's a big topic, but don't worry about it. Take it easy. So that's our video for the month of April. There's another video after this one, and that one I filmed a few years ago, but I found it, and it has to do with reparenting ourselves with Spirit as the parent and guide. And with what we just heard about codependence, inner reparenting sounds like a good solution as well. So I happened to pick that video before I knew we were channeling this one. So how fun, they'll be all in a row. So blessings on your April, and I am in California a lot, end of April through May. Come see me, come play with me, come sing with me, and tune in for Message of the Month on the 1st of every month. It's free. Go to thethrivinglife.co. Obviously, you're on my newsletter. Blessings. Thanks.